Yo, what's happening, fellas? This is Sean Ireton with the Nuinspiration Extraordinary Gentleman podcast. Today, I wanted to tell you about what to wear on a first date. I want to jump right into it. Not a lot of background information for you. The primary things that I want you to understand up front, some of this actually, let me back up a bit. Some of this actually is going to be very similar to that Valentine's Day date ideas podcast episode I did the other day. So if you listen to that podcast, you'll recognize some familiar themes here. But if you didn't listen to that podcast episode, then great. This will be a perfect new bit of information for you. So let's go ahead and get started. So the primary things to understand up front is, where are you taking the girl and at what time of day? So this is some questions that you need to answer for yourself as well as for her. So if it's an evening date somewhere, dress up a bit, but you don't need to be super formal. You don't need to wear a full suit and tie, things like that. If it's a day date, dress a bit more casually. And the number one thing that you really need to do here, after you've taken care of your clothing, your wardrobe, figuring out what you need to wear, is let her know what you'll be wearing and give her an idea of what she should wear. But let her be creative with it. You don't have to dictate the outfit or micromanage it. She doesn't want that shit. She wants to be prepared and match your formality. So the good thing here is that she'll love that you're leading her and communicating beforehand. When I used to date more often, that's what I always did before a date. And that's what I did for my fiance was, we're going to do this X, Y, and Z. Here's the plans for the evening. I would suggest that you wear like a pair of sneakers or something because we're going to be going for a walk. And I want to make sure that you're prepared for that. And I'm going to be dressing up a little bit. I'm not going to wear anything super crazy formal. I'm just going to wear some simple stuff. So, that's an example of what you can tell this lady before you take her out. She just wants to know that she's not going to be underdressing or overdressing for the occasion. So that's definitely a good thing to do. So that's one piece. The next thing that you need to question and understand is, what is your personality type? You have a good understanding of what your personality is, right? So I have three kind of buckets that I'm going to base some of this advice off of. So if you don't closely match or whatever, find which one you closely relate to the most, and kind of take the advice from there. So in the one bucket that I have is humble, modest, and open. So if your personality kind of matches those characteristics, what you want to do is wear more earth tones, like browns, dark greens, muted blues, that kind of stuff, because that will actually communicate that humble, modest, and open personality type a little bit better than anything else. The second bucket here is, are you more eccentric and charismatic? For this category, what you want to do is wear lighter and more energetic colors like yellows, pinks, oranges, things like that. These don't have to be crazy in your face energetic. Like the yellows can be more accessories, like maybe a yellow pocket square or something like that, like a muted yellow. You don't have to get like super stark high contrast yellow or pinks or oranges, things like that. Find a way to incorporate those colors into your overall wardrobe so that that kind of eccentric and charismatic personality comes through in what you're wearing. Now the third bucket is confident and cocky. So if you're this type of guy who's very confident in who he is, you're a little bit cocky, but you've got, a good sense of humor. You're not off-putting in that sense, but you've got those other qualities. What you should wear is dark and high contrast colors like black. Wear dark colors that have lower contrast, like lower to medium contrast. Wear some black, dark blues, dark grays, and you can pair it up with some whites or light grays. Because essentially what you're doing with this is You are allowing your personality to take the stage. Because if you're already confident, cocky, you got a little bit of that charismatic touch to it, you don't want your personality to be taken away by the clothing that you're wearing. So having that confidence and the cocky demeanor and things like that, letting your clothing recede and let your personality, and same with the eccentric and charismatic, really is like being able to use your outfit to kind of display your personality in a sense, but also hold back a little bit so that it's not taking the floor more so than your personality. You want your personality to stand out a little bit more. But the idea here is to let your outfit kind of tell your story before you have a chance to speak. So confident, cocky, wear those dark colors, wear some high contrast stuff, white shirt with black suit or dark navy suit, maybe a black shirt with a dark navy suit, things like that. The next thing that you need to think about is what your skin tone is. So really, no matter your skin tone, wearing medium to high contrast outfits so your skin tone isn't washed out by your clothing. Don't wear colors that are too close to your actual skin tone because you don't want to look naked. So if you're a white guy, for example, you don't want to wear all white or all white and off-white colors. You want some more higher contrast stuff there, so maybe a black shirt, dark navy shirt with lighter pants and a white pair of sneakers or a black pair of shoes, black pair of dress shoes rather. Just making sure that you've got enough contrast there to make your face kind of stand out a little bit more and not recede into the clothing that you're wearing. This is just basic color theory. If you're a guy who has more of a medium skin tone, like if you're Hispanic or Latino, or if, just any other race that has more of that medium tone, same thing. Don't wear anything that's super close in color to your actual skin tone. Same thing with a black guy. If you are if you're wearing blacks and really dark colors, like you don't want to wear too much of that. Find some contrast. Find some different colors in your clothing that will work best with that skin tone. The next thing is to identify your build. So, are you rectangular in shape? Are you oval shaped? Are you triangle shaped? Are you V shaped? Or are you trapezoid? These are the types of body types that you need to understand and really identify for yourself. So if you're a rectangular body type, for example, wear clothing that will visually broaden your shoulders, like horizontal stripes or medium and large plaids. Then make sure your waist is visually a bit more narrow than your chest and shoulders. So this can be done by wearing jackets that taper from the chest down a little bit more severely. The idea here is that you're broadening the shoulders, nipping in the waist to create more of that V-shape illusion. And if you're actually, let me back up. The whole point of all these body types, other than the V-shape, is to visually accentuate a V-shaped body type, to create a visual illusion of having more of that V-shaped body type, because to a woman, that's an attractive attribute of being a man, is having a V-shaped body type. So this is what you're trying to do. You don't have to look like The Rock. You don't have to look like your chest and shoulders are crazy wide compared to your waist. It's just not natural for everybody. It doesn't look right on everyone. So the point here is just to visually allude to that a little bit. If you're oval shaped, avoid horizontal stripes and large plaids. Instead, wear vertical stripes, some solids, small plaid checks, small plaid and checks. Wear clothing that's more fitted but not slim fit. The bigger your clothes are, the bigger you'll look in them. The more fitted they are, the slimmer you'll look. Okay, so these are very important things to keep in mind. Now, if you're triangle shaped, so if you've got more narrow shoulders and wider hips or wider waistline, this is like the rectangular body type. You want to make sure your chest and shoulders appear more broad while making your waist look a little bit more narrow. This is really hard to hide or avoid, but at the most you can try to create more of that illusion, so, or at least even out the proportions between your shoulders and your waistline. So one of the things that you can do is wear longer and bulkier shoes to even out the visual proportions here. So that way, when you are widening the shoulders, trying to narrow the waist a little bit, and then you've got the shoes at the bottom to kind of even things out, then the proportions can look pretty proper. The next, after that, with the V-shaped body type, you can wear just about any pattern or style here. Just make sure that you're not overemphasizing the drastic difference between your shoulders and waist. Don't taper your shirts or jackets too much between your chest and waist, because you want to be proportionate. So if you've got a crazy chest to hip difference where your chest is like 46 inches and your waistline is like 38 inches or 36 inches, don't try to taper it too much. Don't make it look like you've exactly got that chest to hip difference with your clothing. Make sure your waistline on the shirts and jackets are a little bit more than that, or a little bit rather making the chest to hip difference seem smaller rather than more drastic. With the trapezoid body type, you have a lot of freedom here. Most clothing off the rack will fit you pretty well, and depending on your height, you can wear just about any pattern and look good. The next thing that you need to keep in mind is how tall you are. So if you're a short guy, stay away from horizontal stripes and large plaids. This will make you look short. What you want to do is opt for vertical stripes, solids, or small patterns. This will decrease the amount of horizontal eye movement by others and bring focus to your face. So if you've got those more horizontal shapes on your body, the eyes will tend to stay more on your chest, and the eyes will go back and forth from side to side at your chest level instead of bringing that focus up to your face, which is what those vertical stripes will help with. If your average height, well, actually, let me back up, excuse me. With short, if you are, say, 5'7", 5'8", or shorter, this kind of would classify you in that short category. Now, average height is between 5'7", 5'8", and 6 foot, 6'1", things like that. With the average height, you have a lot of freedom here, just like the trapezoid. So if you're average height and trapezoid, you've got pretty much, the options are pretty much endless as far as what's available to you and as far as what patterns and styles will work on your body type. If you're tall, like 6'1", 6'2", or taller, maybe 6'3" and taller, actually. The one thing I'd stay away from is high contrast vertical stripes. More subtle stuff will work for stripes, but the more obvious they are, the more tall you'll look. And you don't want to look too tall. So make sure that you are making your height look a little bit more modest. And if you're short, you want to make sure you look a little bit taller, things like that. And with all that said, that's some good advice for you to step forward and go out on that first date with a woman, and hopefully things go well with it. And if you have any questions at all, please let me know. If you're on Anchor FM, do a quick call in to my station and let me know your questions or leave a comment. If you're listening in on any other platform, leave me a comment or tweet at me. Follow me on Instagram. There's a YouTube channel as well, so leave a comment there. So anyway, keep in touch with me if you got questions, and I'd be happy to answer them for you. Again, this is Sean Ireton with the Nuinspiration Extraordinary Gentleman podcast. Make the rest of today great and have an extraordinary day. All right, guys, take care.